Well, hello there, my beautiful friends. Today we are going to be duping the brand new Mcgrath Fleur Fantasia quad. When I first saw this quad, I thought it was the prettiest thing I had seen in a long time, but I knew that I had some colors in my collection that were pretty darn similar, so I am here to share that with you today. So if you are interested in seeing these dupes, then go ahead and keep on watching and let's jump right on in. So as I stated, this is a brand new quad from Mcgrath. She came out with 3 of these quads for the holidays. There is Fleur Fantasia, Risque Rose, and Interstellar Icon. I love the name of all of those palettes. They're all so cute. And the particular quads in Risque Rose and Fleur Fantasia really piqued my interest. I think they're both absolutely stunning, but they are $58 a pop for 4 shadows in each quad. So I figured I would go ahead and save my coin and dupe both of these palettes, but today we are just strictly focusing in on Fleur Fantasia. Now, when I saw this quad, I thought, dang, that's a really unique color combination. I love the peachy matte with that beautiful kind of duochromy lilac to pink to blue tone, and then that gorgeous magenta. I had never really seen anything like it, but once I kind of isolated the colors, I knew I had dupes in my collection. So I'm going to be sharing those with you. So the first color in the quad is called Huetopia, and this is the beautiful kind of iridescent peachy tone, if you will. It's like an iridescent peachy gold, and I just got this shade from Mcgrath Cosmetics. This is Pink Lemonade. I've had it for a couple weeks now. This is described as a peachy pink with golden shimmer. This is like the most beautiful, almost icy peach with just a hint of pink and beautiful gold shimmers and shifts running throughout it. It is such a bright and beaming color, and it has almost a pastel quality to it, but it's not so in your face that you couldn't use this as a highlight. All my deep chocolatey toned boys and girls out there, I think this would be such a beautiful highlight or blush on you. It is super reflective, and you do get that really intense kind of peachy pink tone, but it's not so in your face. You get a lot of that reflection from the gold reflex that are in here. And Mcgrath Cosmetics has a really beautiful, buttery, creamy, and intense formula when it comes to their metallics, and this is no different. It is super intense, super wet looking, and I think it's just a really beautiful color. Plus, I absolutely love the name of this color, Pink Lemonade. That is near and dear to my heart because, as you guys know, or if you don't know, now you do, I absolutely love when makeup is named after sweet, fruity, and dessert kind of items, if you will. Now, the second shade in the palette is called Lavender Blue, and I actually have 2 dupes for this, just depending on what you're basically looking for as far as the finish goes. The first dupe that I have is from Cleona Cosmetics, one of my absolute favorite indie brands in the entire planet. Utopia is a beautiful pale baby pink to blue duochrome. It has a slightly sheer base, and it can be used as an eyeshadow topper, or it can be used on its own, and you can also use it as a highlight as well. Now, the difference between the 2 dupes that I'm going to show you is that Cleona Cosmetics' Utopia is much more metallic. It's much more kind of shifty, if you will. It doesn't have so many micro shimmers in it compared to the dupe that I'm going to show in just a minute. This is perfect for you if you want a color that's pretty similar to the Mcgrath shade, but you don't want something that's overly sparkly or overly intense. This is a beautiful, sheeny kind of product. It gives a really wet effect on the eyes, and as you can see, it has a very intense pink base, and then you get a little bit of that blue kind of purpley lilac shift. It's more apparent in person than it is on camera. On camera, it looks a little bit more washed out, but as you can see in the swatch there, you can really see that blue kind of purpley shift. It is such a beautiful shade with a very smooth and buttery formula. This is for a metallic eyeshadow lover. It's not for a super sparkly eyeshadow lover. That will be the next one, but if you are into a very wet, gleaming type of lid or even cheek, this is definitely the product for you if you are a fan of duochrome blue baby pink type shadows. The second dupe that I have for you for the shade Lavender Blue is from Davina Cosmetics. This is the shade Cream Puff Cuddles. Super cute name. You know me and the dessert names. I just love it. And this is a sheer baby pink with strong blue shifts, baby blue shimmers, and pink shimmers. So this is definitely the dupe that is more geared towards people who are into a kind of shimmery, sparkly look. There are a lot of micro shimmers in here, a lot of micro sparkles, but there's nothing overly chunky. This is a beautiful eyeshadow topper, and you can wear it alone as well. It definitely shears out quite a bit if you wear it alone, which creates a really interesting kind of glossy effect on the eyes. This is a beautiful, super cool toned, like baby pink, but it kind of almost leans a bit more blue. versus Utopia, which definitely has a bit more pink. So it just depends on what you want. As you can see on my finger there, it is very, very, very shimmery, and on the swatch you can see how shimmery it is. It catches the light really beautifully, but on the eyes you're going to see those shimmers for sure. This is a shimmery lover's dream as far as pink duochrome to blue duochromes go. I think the shade looks really reminiscent of Pat McGrath's. Knowing Pat McGrath's formulas, she always has like a top or shadow in her palettes, and this would probably be more close to the actual lavender blue shade, but I figured I would include a more metallic shade for those of you who do enjoy metallics. Third in the quad is the shade Iridescent Orchid. I love that name. It is beautiful. It makes me have FOMO on how I missed out on the Pat McGrath Mothership 3 palette. I think there was a shade called Iridescent Orchid in there, and I constantly have FOMO about that palette. Even though I'm pretty sure it's still for sale, I am not willing to fork over 120 bucks for that palette. I digress. But the dupe I have for this shade is Sydney Grace Cosmetics' Always Yours, and this is a metallic, cool-toned pinky mauve. This is such a saturated eyeshadow. It's a metallic and it gives a very glossy, wet look to the eyes. It's pretty deep in pigment, so I feel like a lot of people with different skin tones could use this and it wouldn't look too washed out. It wouldn't look too bright on the eyes. It's definitely more muted and a bit more kind of mauve-y. It's a really beautiful, very shiny color. This is one of those shadows that does all the work for you. You don't need to basically put any work into this shadow. It just applies onto the eyes so beautifully and effortlessly. It is like full pigmentation right out of the bat, and I think the tone of this is so pretty and soft and almost like a deep pastel, if you will. It's really, really beautiful and kind of spring colored, and I really love the tone of this shade. There are virtually no shimmers in this product. It is all sheen that you're seeing there. It is such a beautiful kind of florally, almost like a deep floral tone, if you will. It is so gorgeous and so saturated. It is just stunning. And the final dupe that we have here is for the shade Lotus Paradise from the Pat McGrath palette. I love that name. Lotus Paradise is such a beautiful name for an entire palette. Pat McGrath should just come out with a Lotus Paradise palette, and I am like 100% there for it. But this is Emme Cosmetics' Peach, it's hard to say, Emme Cosmetics' Peach Macaroon, and this is a matte soft light peach with a hint of coral. So this is almost like a dusty peach that has just a touch of coral that makes it a little bit brighter in tone. But I see what they're saying when they describe it as a soft light kind of formula. It's not sheer, but it's not super intense in pigment. It's the perfect wash of color, if you will. It's like watercolors almost. It's like if somebody turned watercolors into an eyeshadow, this formula would definitely be that. And I think it's really beautiful to wear in the crease. I think it's beautiful to wear all over the lid if you just want to do a one and done peachy kind of eye. This is definitely your guy. It blends beautifully on the skin, and you don't have to work super hard to build up pigmentation at all. It just by nature is a softer toned eyeshadow, so it builds up a little bit softer, it blends out a little bit softer, and it almost looks a little bit blurred on the skin. I don't know if you can see that in the swatch here, but you'll see it once I start to blend it out with my finger. It almost gives like a blurred kind of peachy effect, which I love. That makes it really, really easy to get a very blown out transition color throughout your crease. It's just one of those really easy, kind of soft, pretty formulas, and I think it matches the color in the Pat McGrath palette pretty darn well. And even if it's just a shade or two off, I still love this color so much that I think it's gonna go beautifully with the colors that we picked out for dupes in this palette. Okay, my friends, but that is going to be wrapping up today's video. I know it was a shorter one, but I figured I would just give you guys the dupes that I had for the individual quad. Originally, I was going to do 2 quads in one video, but just in case you only wanted to hear information on one of the dupes or one of the quads, you could just watch one video and call it a day and not have to sit through an entire quad you don't really care about. So there will definitely be another video like this later on in the week. It's all filmed, I just have to edit it, which of course I always procrastinate editing, so but that will be on the Risque Rose quad, which I think I have some pretty spot on dupes for that palette, so stay tuned to be in the loop for when that drops. And let me know in the comments if you have any dupes that you think would be better in representation of the Fleur Fantasia palette, or if you liked any of my dupes and you want to give them a try. If you tried the palette and you think it's absolutely incredible, let me know as well, because trust me, a girl still wants that palette. I'm just trying to be frugal here and be good with my money and use the colors that I have in my collection, but I definitely still want that palette. But if you enjoyed today's video, I would absolutely love it if you gave me a big old thumbs up and subscribed if you want to see more from me. If you want to see the Risque Rose dupes, and then go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. And I hope you are having an absolutely amazing and beautiful day wherever you are. I hope you're staying safe, and thank you so much for joining me and spending your time here today. I hope to see you next time. Bye!